Hello and welcome, Rebels. My name is Ashley and I will be guiding you through our 30-minute Yini, or as I call it, a mini Yin practice today. It's a beautiful day today, so I decided to take our practice outside. I welcome you to, if you have time in your schedule, find a grassy spot under one of the big beautiful trees on our fantastic campus to practice. Maybe on your balcony, in your backyard, find a park, bring a friend. But it's always good to connect with nature, and in connecting with nature, we ultimately really connect with ourselves. So today I have a mat. You can also use a towel, or if you're outside, you just practice on the grass. I've got a blanket and 2 blocks. All of these props are options to you. What matters is that you're here, you showed up, and I can't wait to practice with you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started today in a supported bridge pose. So if your hips are tight or you've got like a sensitive low back, if you're super active off the mat, it's always good to give yourself that extra support, that extra comfort. So coming into that supported bridge pose, we're going to bend the knees here, placing the soles of the feet on the mat block. If you have it, you can place in between your knees. A book also works perfectly, a textbook if it doesn't happen to be a virtual textbook, or even just rolling up a towel or another blanket works. And then this this block needs to be placed right in between the shoulder blades here. So this really helps us open up through this hard to reach spot that typically gets very tight because, as we all know, we're constantly doing this. So really trying to open up through that upper back. So important to have that really strong spine. So placing our feet down on the mat and then slowly rolling down. Always making sure to take time as we get into this first posture to just connect. And if this block doesn't feel quite right, then just keep adjusting it until it does. If having your throat and your heart space open this much, you get into this pose and you're like, wow, this is just way too much intensity for me this morning, or whenever you're practicing, you can also use this block or a pillow, a blanket for your head. So you have a lot of options here. So for today, I'm going to place this block in between my knees just to kind of help release some tension in this area from a lot of the walking and running I've been doing, and of course teaching yoga, and then settle down into our pose, working into the breath, placing one hand on the heart to begin, and one hand on the belly, just working on connecting with the breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose and through the nose and out through the nose. Getting to check in with our entire body, so doing a different kind of opening this morning, different kind of breath work. First, let's just check in with the toes, breathing in through those, and then up into the balls of the feet, the arches of the feet, and the heels, feeling our firm roots planted and attached to the mat or whatever is beneath us. knowing that we have a strong foundation within our own body. And then sending breath into the ankles, continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, up into the quads, the shins, the knees, our entire leg area. Taking 3 rounds of breath, just imagining that we're breathing from the toes all the way up to the top of the thigh. Almost like we're filling up a cup and then draining it. So washing in with that inhale and then letting go with that exhale. And then moving the attention up to the hip area, a place that will be focusing on a lot in our yin practice. We store a lot of emotion, a lot of memory, and even trauma in our hip area. And focusing 3 rounds of breath on the hips. Feeling that support of the earth beneath you. Feeling the support and the love that you have for yourselves. And then bringing breath into the abdominal region, breathing in and out. Connecting with the self. And coming up into the heart space. Maybe placing 2 hands on the heart space just to connect with yourself. Focusing on our intention today of love. As we come into a new season, we are a few days into spring, a time of renewal and rebirth, a time when things are blooming, a time when we can focus in on loving ourselves first so that we can better love others. And as cliche as that sounds, I believe it to be so true. So breathing in that self-love, 2 more rounds of breath in this precious heart space. And then focusing more of our attention into our throat, thinking about how we can use our self-love to modify that voice, both that internal voice, what we tell ourselves, and our external voice, what we tell each other. Three more rounds of breath here. Everyone's doing a fantastic job. And bringing some awareness into the face space. Maybe even bringing the hands up to the face. Releasing any tension in the jaw, separating the space in between the teeth. Taking the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. That helps us constrict the throat and work on that Ujjayi or warrior breath. And then bringing some awareness to that little spot in between the eyebrows that we tend to furrow or wrinkle so many times. Maybe even bring a fingertip here and massage that third eye area. Massage the forehead. And then ultimately breathing out through the crown of the head. One more round of breath. And inhale. Always being gentle with yourselves. Slowly roll off of the block. Just set that aside for now if you were using it. Hug the knees into the chest. Give yourselves that I love you hug. Maybe even keep the block in between the knees if that feels good. Gently rocking back and forth from side to side. Just releasing any tension in the low back. After that long body scan, inviting any movement in here. So circling the ankles back and forth. Even circling the wrists. And if after the body scan you're feeling like you need to release some stuff, you're welcome to just do some flicking, some kicking. These movements help us just release any energy, interaction, even just things that people said or things that we say to ourselves that we need to release. And then coming to a place of stillness, slowly place the feet back down on the mat. Rolling over onto the right side for a fetal position. This is a place where you might want to take the blanket and cover yourselves up. I'm not going to do that just so you can see some of the adjustments that I'm making. I'm a big believer that in Yin, the more comfortable items you bring in, the more you can just let your mind and body relax as much as possible. So I always wear my most comfortable clothes when I'm doing Yin. And then settling down, you may choose to use a block as a pillow. If that's not feeling comfortable to you, then just set it aside, using your arm as a pillow or an actual pillow. Hugging this block in between the knees to help release tension in the hips. Gives our knees support so that they're not knocking next to each other. Releasing the hips and the low back a little bit. And then if you're feeling tight in this low back, you may want to send the knees further away from the center of your body. If you're feeling like you just want to protect yourself a little bit after that big heart-opening body scan, maybe you hug those knees in a little bit more. Just getting settled in, placing this hand, the top hand down on the mat, and then slowly getting settled in here for about 10 rounds of breath. Option to close the eyes if that feels good. Making sure that we're tuning into the breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Closing the eyes really helps us tune inward. Focusing on that idea of self-love. I find that the more we do these slower practices, the more we slow down. It really gives us the opportunity to focus inward, away from all of the exterior distractions that we're constantly bombarded with. And that's when we can start to peel back some layers of ourselves, helping us kind of know our truer self, our kinder self, our more loving self. Letting yourself really melt down. You're starting to feel gravity work its way and pull you down closer to the earth. Let gravity do its thing. Trust your body. We'll be here in this fetal position for 5 more rounds of breath. Everyone's doing a wonderful job. Being extra gentle with yourselves. If your eyes were closed, I recommend that you continue to keep the eyes closed and just listen to my voice as I guide you into the next posture. Gently rolling back up onto the hips, sliding both legs towards the right hand corner of the mat, gently crossing the left ankle over the right, grabbing opposite elbows, and then slowly moving the whole upper body over to the right, creating this gentle U shape or smile with the body. This is known as banana pose. So continuing to work on opening up through this whole left side body. Grabbing opposite elbows is going to help us incorporate more of the upper body into this gentle stretch. You can still continue to get covered up with a blanket, continuing to make sure that as we curve over, we want to make sure that we have this nice open throat space here. If the top of your left hip comes off of the mat, that's fine. Maybe you want to use a little bit of a block to support you here. And then we'll get settled in here for about 8 rounds of breath. Letting yourself get settled in. Keeping those eyes closed. If there's too much intensity of having the arms up overhead, you are welcome to bring the arms in for an I love you hug, just continuing to maintain the integrity of that U shape. This little hug also goes well with our intention today of how we can give ourselves a little bit more love and kindness. A few more rounds of breath here in banana pose. Reminder that you can hold any of these poses for even longer periods of time. A traditional yin class is typically in anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. So if you have extra time and you're enjoying this practice and you just want to linger in the poses, I invite you to do that. Three more rounds of breath here. One more inhale. And on the exhale, slowly roll back onto both hips. Release everything. Let the arms come out wide. Just gently rocking the hips back and forth from side to side. Or you may choose to hug those knees in again. Whatever feels good to you in your body. You know what's best. And then coming into the same postures on the left side. For you all, you will take that block and gently roll over onto the left side for fetal position on the left, using your arm as a pillow. For me, just so you can continue to hear me, we'll get settled in over here. Noticing the difference between the right side and the left. One side does tend to be a little bit more sensitive than the other. Using this arm as a pillow. Again, if there's a really large difference between one side and the other, maybe you hug the knees in a little bit more on the left side, or you let them go a little bit more. You know what's best for the body, so just listen to that voice, listen to your heart. Letting gravity draw you towards the earth. Letting gravity take that shoulder away from the ear. Feeling your heart space supported. Feeling that breath and letting it quiet anything that's happening in the mind space, in the heart space. Five more rounds of breath here, letting ourselves sink in. Trying to increase the length of the inhalations. And the exhalations. One more. And then keeping the eyes closed, let's gently transition into that banana pose on the left. Rolling onto the hips. Extending the left ankle over to the left corner of the mat. Right ankle over that. And then gently reaching up and grabbing opposite elbows this time. This kind of the one that isn't as natural, and then slowly curving that upper body over to the left-hand corner of the mat, really trying to keep the throat open, while also keeping both shoulder blades on the mat. That'll help you maintain the integrity of the pose. Noticing the difference in tightness and looseness on the right side and the left. You are welcome to bring that block over one more time and place it gently next to the hip, just kind of as a reminder to stay anchored down as much as possible. Reopening through the heart space after that fetal position. You may feel some new sensations in this area, and that's okay. Just welcome them in, breathe through them, whatever they are. And letting that breath clear out anything that isn't in service to you. Five more rounds of breath here. Everyone's doing a wonderful job. One more in. And then exhale, open the mouth side out, let it go. 2 more, breathe in. And exhale, open the mouth side out. As we come into our final resting posture of Savasana, you may choose to use the blanket and cover up as much as possible. You can stay in Savasana as long as you want, just letting yourselves, just taking up space for yourselves, breathing it in. And one more, opening the mouth, sighing it out. Letting yourself settle in and feel some support. Feeling that love that we worked to cultivate together today. welcome to stay in this posture as long as you would like. Or if you have to go about your day or evening, whatever time you've chosen to practice, you may begin to bring some gentle awareness into the fingertips and the toes, tipping the head back and forth, circling the ankles and the wrists, always being gentle with yourselves. Taking a breath here on our side, and then slowly rising up to a seated position. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Taking a moment to acknowledge all of the hard work that you do on and off of the mat. One more breath in, all together and out as we bow to seal our practice. The light in me honors, respects, and appreciates the light in each and every one of you. Have an absolutely beautiful day, Rebels. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today for our Yini. My name is Ashley. If you are ever on campus, you are welcome to join me for Wednesday morning classes, 6:15 a.m. to 7 a.m., or Thursday night classes from 5:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves, and remember to spread that love.